My name is Dr. Segun Shabaka. I am the chair of the International African Arts Festival and the National Association of Kawaii Organizations, and we will be hosting our 47th annual International African Arts Festival and our 29th annual Symposium on Culture and Community. The festival will take place from Saturday, June 30th through Wednesday, July 4th. That's 5 great, fantastic days of music, dance, culture, arts from all over the African world. The symposium is a one-day event, and that will take place across the street from the festival, which is in Commodore Barry Park. The symposium will be in PS 287, which is located right across the street at 50 Navy Street. Our opening day is Libation, and this is a tribute to the immigrant community as well as the ancestors. And so on that day, we have numerous artists, including our good brother here, Brother Reggie Workman, who will be giving a tribute to an international icon who he has worked with extensively, the ancestor, the great John Coltrane. This year, our artists for the opening day are Elida Almeida from Cape Verde. We have Brother Reggie Workman here, who's played with the international icon John Coltrane and other great jazz artists. We have Oyu Oro from Cuba, and we have Muntu Dance Theater, one of the best African dance troupes in the country. On Sunday, we have Wordsmith, international spoken word artists. We have the Baylor Project, husband and wife team, playing different genres of music. We have Neil Clark playing tribute to Mongo Santa Maria called Mongo Jazz. And we have, again, Muntu Dance Theater. On Monday, we have Imani Scott, a local and dynamic vocalist with her ensemble. We have the Ed Stout Ensemble. We have Ake Becker, formerly Midnight Band. And we have Ishangi African Dancers. On Tuesday, we have the Originals, a young group of dynamic brothers, and they'll be paying tribute to Gil Scott-Heron and Oscar Brown Jr. Also, we have a Latin jazz group, Salsa, also, with Brother Don Adolfo and his Conjunto Fantasia Cubanas. And we have the dynamic Calypsonian, David Rudder. We're closing out with Bambada Drum and Dance Ensemble. Every evening we close out with an African dance troupe. On Wednesday, we have Danny Mixon Ensemble. Before Caltef African Dance Company, we have 2 artists that will be paying tribute to Hugh Masekela. That is Renee McLean's Urban Jalaya and Bongo Duma, South African dynamic young brother who is also a star in Lion King. So this year's festival is dedicated to Dr. Sam Penn, a very local dynamic activist and organizer here. Sister Dara Iman, a former member of the East, the Hudu Sasa, from which the festival comes. Sister Winnie Mandela, and Brother Hugh Masekela. The festival again takes place from Saturday, June 30th through Wednesday, July 4th. That's 5 days. Our event has over 200 vendors from all over Africa as well as the diaspora, the Caribbean, Europe, South America, Africa, and of course the U.S. The festival is functions on 3 to 4 sources of income and resources. They are the vendors and the patrons. And so we ask the patrons to make a $5 donation for adults each day that they come to the festival and to pay $2 for their children. Nowhere will you find this kind of activity for your family at this price. And so we ask that contribution. This is the same $5 we've been asking for about 35 years. So this is not, we haven't gone up. And since the boys and girls, the early years of boys and girls. Also, we have public funding we get, but that's a small part of our budget, about 15-20%. And we have, of course, our volunteers. That is how festival continues to operate. So we do ask people to make that contribution, and we hope that people understand that nobody's getting rich off of this event. In fact, many of us are volunteering and making tremendous sacrifices to bring this event to our community. And we think that it's very important because culture is the most dynamic and most important aspect of a people. We know the most defining feature of any people is its culture. And so we try to bring the best of African culture. And we are Pan-African in that we have African people from all over the world that work at festival, that vend at festival, that come to festival, that perform at festival. So we're truly a Pan-African event. And people can find out more at our website, which is www.iaafestival.org. Our elected officials are very supportive. The elected officials in this community on the local, the borough, and the state level is very, very supportive of us. You know, we think festival is one of the best kept secrets in our community, and people need to come out because it's like anything, unlike anything we have, unlike anything. Okay, I go to festivals all over the world, and I think this is one of the best. And I've taken people to the festival, to other festivals, and they'll say, this is not as good as our festival. So it's a strong piece. It's a strong piece. Again, it's a very, very peaceful event, and you have people coming through all the time. You have artists. You have, you might find, you know, we've had Stevie Wonder come through, had his hair braided out there at the festival. So we have inclusive, holistic, loving environment, and a lot of people come through that, you know, any given year. You see lots of people, celebrities coming through festival to enjoy themselves. Oh, yes, yes. It's some of the best food you're going to have from Africa, the Caribbean, and Southern cuisine, you know, vegan, vegetarian, the whole gamut is out there. We want to work with other people to duplicate this in other communities, globally, in this area and globally. I mean, we could tell you the template, how to do this. And, you know, you can just call the office and ask for Dr. Segun Shabaka. We can meet and we could talk after festival, of course. Okay, but we really want to duplicate this event because we think, again, positive cultural environment is very, very important to our community. Festival started as a school closing program for Uhuru Sasa Shule, Freedom Now School. And we used to say about the students that we taught that we were planting seeds. And that sometimes when you're planting seeds, the germination and the maturation process takes years, sometimes decades, to bear the fruit. And we always felt that the students, just like our people with the festival, they may not understand its importance now, and hopefully it will always be here for them to come and enjoy. But over time with our students, we felt that they would grow and appreciate what we were putting into them, the seeds we were putting into them, the knowledge we were putting into them. This gentleman, his wisdom and his knowledge is being covered by his youthful look here. But this is one of the best jazz musicians around. This is brother Reggie Workman. I'm going to let him tell some of the artists that he played with. But for me, one of my favorite artists that he played with is John Coltrane, who is an international jazz icon. Sometimes when I hear an elder is going to be somewhere, I will just go, pay and go to see that elder because you know that,
Yeah,
we
tomorrow is not promised.
tomorrow is not promised to me or him or anybody, but you have an elder artist that's playing. This is something special, special. And so, Brother Reggie has been on the scene playing for I guess about 6, 7 decades professionally. I told you his youthfulness. So yeah, this is Brother Reggie
A
Workman.
great introduction. I'm very proud to be a part of this wonderful situation. And of course, Brother Shabaka and the East and I go back, and that was my inspiration for doing the festival when I was at the New Muse in the late 60s, early 70s. Into the 80s, and it was Ditu Weusi in the East who encouraged me to do the same thing at the New Muse, and we developed the Crow's Hill Festival as a template from the East, and it developed. It's like connecting the dots to be here right now, talking with Shabako and being a part of this situation. And indeed, all the people that you mentioned are peers of mine and folks who I'm very proud that you are presenting. When we come out there, we're going to be bringing a group, a dynamic group, which will encompass Roots Frank Lacey, who is with the Mingus Ensemble, and one of his homies. We tend to reach out to young people all the time, so we have reached out to a young drummer from Texas also named Jerome Gillespie, who is going to be there in place of one of our members who cannot do it. And we have a Latino brother named Carlos Holmes on the keyboards, piano. And we have a brother who graduated from the new school named Raphael Staten. I hope you know who he is, because he's going to be heard from. He's forced to be reckoned with. He's going to come out and perform with us, and it's going to be a particularly great performance. We, of course, will pay tribute to John Coltrane, and also a tune in tribute to Art Blakey and the people who work with him, maybe a tune that represents that era, and some of our own stuff. Above all, we'll be trying to bring some musical joy into that area, which I think is going to happen because this festival, starting from 10 Claver Place years ago, is still going on, and like you say, I'm hoping that it will be going on forever. That's one thing that we fail to do sometimes. We don't plant the seeds with our young people to say, okay, you carry the ball from here. You got another 100 yards to go. And it's not even to think about it subsiding, because some of us jump off the planet, because our young people are going to carry it on just like we carried it on for our elders. I'm looking forward to it. And for everyone out there within earshot, we want to see you there, and we want to make some music and joy for you on that day. No, first my parents sat me to the piano and had me going to take piano lessons on Saturday at the downtown music store. That lasted for a while until my cousin put the bass in my hand. He used to practice at the house, and he put the bass in my hand, and I liked that vocal cord, so that became my life. And carried that on for the years. Along with that, I just continued to give what I have been given to people who come along behind me, and that's my legacy. That's what I do, and enjoy doing it. And I think that's what keeps me on the planet. It keeps me alive, because it inspires me to do exactly that, exactly what all of us are about here. And this festival, indeed, is one of the great, great things that happen annually in Brooklyn and in the world. It's hard to name names. I don't want to leave anyone out. You already heard John Coltrane, Art Blakey, James Moody, Miles Davis, Thelonious Monk, Herbie Mann, Mal Waldron. Uh, it's hard to leave anybody out because I've been here on the planet dealing with music for many, many years. So I've tried to have a musical conversation, dialogue with as many people as possible. Sun Ra, uh, you name it. I think what made them great is the fact that they understand that they are messengers of the Creator, and they're delivering a message from on high to the people. And they worked, or we worked on the craft to do that, and the ability to get that information out to the people, and that became our lifestyle. That became the lifestyle of all who we have come in contact with. And I think each one of them are great because they have a personality in their music. They have a personal commitment to bringing this message to the people. And some cases, the media or the business world embraced it. Some cases not. Some cases, people just were diligent and stayed on the case and continued to do it. And like Brother Shabaka, if he knows who those people are, he is a party of keeping it alive and bringing it to the people, as he is helping me to connect this dot from 10 Claver Place up to the park in Brooklyn. That's what is important. And that's what I hope will continue to happen as long as we can have a breath. Understand what you are doing as far as the highest science in the world. I think the science of sound. Understand that you are studying to be a musician, but you are studying to be a sound scientist. It takes many hours of work, many hours of study, and much dedication. And understand that you have to develop this high language, which is universal, which will reach people on all corners of the globe, and know that you are becoming a great messenger of the Creator, and that is your legacy. It will take a lot of work, a lot of dedication, a lot of commitment, but it is very rewarding. Well, you know, I didn't just meet John in the later days in the 60s when Eric Dolphy brought him around to the club when I was playing with Roy Haynes. That's another name I forgot. And Tommy Flanagan and Jackie Byard. When Eric brought him around to the club and he asked me later after listening to come do tours with his band, which was my first opportunity to leave the country. But I am from Philadelphia, and John had moved back from High Point, North Carolina to Philly to buy a place for his mom. So he, after being on the road with Miles, etc., he would come to Philadelphia, and we would often find John Coltrane was one of the ringers that would perform at the club where McCoy Tyner and Eddie Campbell and I were the rhythm section. The ringer is the big name like John Coltrane to bring people to the club, and we were the rhythm section to support him. And that's how we got to know one another with Cal Massey and all the Massey family and McCoy Tyner's wife, Steve Davis, and Aisha and Khadijah, the mosque where they all studied, became community. So we began to know one another and be a part of one another long before he asked me to tour with his band. And I was aware of his family and close to his life before then. We used to meet on Columbia and Broad after the gigs and have our breakfast, and all the musicians would be there, or at Local 274, downtown South Philadelphia. We begin to recognize John Coltrane's genius at early times, and if you notice in in this world of music or the science of sound, you find that there are many people who have that genius and have that ability to bring the high message to you. And Philadelphia yielded quite a few geniuses like John, but none to match him, of course. But you had many people like Hassan Ibn Ali and Odin Pope and Eddie Campbell and Eddie Mathias and Lee Morgan and Kenny Rogers and Sonny Fortune and just the Wilson family, Booth family. I could go on naming people, and each one of them are great. Not all of them chose to deal with this great music as their way of life. Some chose other things. That's one thing that's great about music, and I should digress I'd like to ask you to digress with me about the question about young people. Notice that if you are involved with music, music has many tentacles, and the study of music and the things you develop can take you to many places in the world of life. So you may choose to be an educator, you may choose to be a host on the radio, you may choose to be a writer, an actor, a dancer, but still it's all music-based, which is that powerful letter starts with the invocation at the fulcrum of the Latinized English alphabet, which we used to talk about a lot. You just have to think about the number 13 and what that means to us, and what letter, with what letter and what words start at the fulcrum. Well, I'm thanking God for Shabaka and everybody who is affiliated, and all the people who are helping have this happen, and yourself who are helping to get our word out to the people. This is what we have to do. We can't depend on anybody else to do it for us, because it's not going to be done, as we know in today's climate. But now we have the social media. We have your roving camera. We have whatever vehicle that we can have. We have your own iPhone that you can take a picture of the flyer or the poster and send it across the land to your friend and tell them, be there. And that's what we're here for today, just to let you know that we are about making this happen and making this successful. And that's why I'm happy to be a part of it. I want to say what's up to all the people who have been in my support and affiliated with me over the years. All my family, all my relatives, all my students who are those parties we mentioned who are carrying the ball forward. And I want to say what's up to all of the people who we are reaching out to come to be a part of this situation. And I want to say what's up to those people who we need to come in and help us to make this thing happen through the funding, through the media, through writing, through the phone, through whatever vehicle you have. Make it work. And I want to say what's up to all the people who have read that this is the International African Arts Festival. It's an international festival. That means you. That means people from all denominations, all parts of the neighborhood and the country come and be a part of this, because it's going to be music and joy for everybody who shows up. And because it's in the middle of Brooklyn and it's an African Arts Festival does not mean you are not welcome. Everyone is welcome, and everyone should experience this year. What's up, audience? Please be there.
This is a very, very unique event. You cannot go places and find an artist like this along with other great artists for $5 and bring your children there to see them also. It's a family affair, and I don't think enough people understand. That where can you go see Reggie Workman, Muntu Dance Troupe, coming in from Chicago, one of the best dance troupes in the world. Alaida Almeida, one of the best artists coming out of Cape Verde. Oyu Oro from Cuba for $5. That's $1 for each artist. That's just one stage. We got another stage of artists. So that part I don't think people understand and have not grasped. Enough people from the dynamic that takes place at the gate for the $5 donation. I don't think enough people understand that, because this event is really worth $25.
Who do you want to say what's up to?
I want to say what's up to the entire festival family, the staff, the volunteers, and the others that helped to produce this, the artists like Brother Reggie Workman here, and to those new, the old family, the current family, and the new and future family of the International African Arts Festival. So what's up? I hope to see you out there.